I get to sit in coach and take questions after, so raise your hands, please.
All right, yeah, we had a tough game Saturday. They're a good team. We played well enough to beat them. And good thing about basketball and conference players, you get turnaround play right away again. So we get to go on the road and test ourselves against one of the better teams in the league, one of the better teams in the country, to be honest with you. And there's no real easy games left on our schedule. When you look at the rankings of our, we got 6 opponents left. They're all, I believe, they're all top 25. At least they were before. So I haven't really looked at much other than trying to get ourselves ready for Missouri. They're the top 5 in the country in steal percentage. We've had an issue with turning the ball over. So that's a major issue going in this game. Can we take care of the ball so that we're not sending them layups on the other end? Their transition offense is one of the best in the country. They're first in the SEC, I think second in the country in free throws made per game. So we've had an issue with fouling. So a lot of the stuff they do well, we at times this year have had an issue with. Maybe not every game. I thought we did a good job taking care of the ball against Auburn with only 7 turnovers, but we've had 20, close to 20, too many times. So turnovers, the fouling, Caleb Drill's second in the SEC in 3-pointers made, and he shoots it really well. We've given too many good shooters career nights. Go back to Eagle staff, Hubbard. We've got to get, I didn't even think we did a great job against some of the shooters that Auburn had, getting them off the line. So our defense on Grill's got to be better. We got to be able to guard them without fouling, and we got to take care of the ball on offense because their points off turnovers and steal percentage is one of the better in the country. So those have been the points emphasis, and it's got to be more of one of those deals where can we bounce back after a tough loss with the proper mindset. And I referenced last year, I was a little disappointed with our leadership last year, after the Tennessee game, going into Florida, have some of our guys this year grown up and matured since last year. Some of the new guys, can some of the new guys that we've got provide better? And based on yesterday's practice and today's practice, I think the answer is yes. I think some of the guys that were on last year's team that kind of wallowed in self-pity, if you will, after the Tennessee loss, and then didn't have us ready to go against Florida, looked a lot better yesterday in practice than we had last year. And I think some of the new guys got good disposition about them to help us in that regard. So, I liked our leadership yesterday in practice. We were a lot shorter today, but I thought today we picked it up, got done what we needed to, and we'll be ready to go tomorrow.
Starting with Hunter.
What makes Dennis Gates so unique in terms of just kind of finishing without a win in SEC play last season, but is still able to achieve like a top-notch recruiting and transfer class?
Yeah, I mean, Dennis is, before he got a head job, he was one of the best recruiters in the country, and still one of the best recruiters in the country as a head coach. So it's not shocking that he was able to still put a good recruiting class together even after, like you said, not being able to get a conference win. Sometimes injuries, bad luck, whatever it is, because he did a really good job in year 1. I think he coach of the year, I thought, or he was in the votes for it. I can't remember exactly. 2 years ago, he did a great job in year 1, and then they obviously struggled last year, and then that shoot to be able to bounce back. To, like you said, recruit the guys that you got to come in, and then B, to get the mindset, get the culture, get the attitudes of the team to be back expecting to win. I mean, this team looks like they've got as much swagger as anybody in the country going into this. They expect to win. They're 16-1 at home. They've gone on the road and won big. This is a team playing really well. Nobody would have any idea that this team didn't win a conference game last year based on how they've performed this year throughout, what they look like right now, because they're one of the best teams in the country, and they're certainly one of the best teams in our league.
Emily Grace.
Coach, you mentioned that there's no easy game left on your schedule. When you look at these next 6 games, instead of focusing on how tough they are, what are some advantages that come from rounding out your regular season with a gauntlet like this?
Yeah, I mean, instead of looking at what we have to do, it's more like what do we get to do? We get to play against some of the best competition in the country to test ourselves. We get to if we bring it and are fortunate enough to get the win, we get to rattle off quality wins to get our NCAA tournament seeding up. You know, I saw that the committee came out with their, I think we were at 1 seed. I didn't look too close at that. I was trying to figure out what went wrong in the Auburn game, but I did, you know, take a minute to look at that. You know, like, can we keep our 1 seed where it's at, which gives us the best chance to make a run to the Final Four? Well, we got plenty of opportunities to do that. So, and we've also got plenty of opportunity to prep ourselves for the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, both with playing very good teams. That you know, and I'm looking at them. You know, Missouri's, you know, it's somewhat similar to Kentucky, and they both shoot a lot of threes and try to play up tempo, but they're a lot different too. So we got different, you know, and then we go to Mississippi State, and they got some similarities with an elite shooter like Hubbard, Grill. Kentucky's got elite shooters, but they're different. So that there's similarities in these teams. Jazz Lanier, Tennessee, great shooter. They're super tough. Defensively, Tennessee does it, you know, a lot different than maybe Mizzou and Kentucky. But the similarities, we've got to do a better job, and what we've struggled with, the difference is we've got to be able to adjust game to game and play all different styles, because when you get into the NCAA tournament, you play at College of Charleston, and then you know, very up and down, free flowing, then you got to turn around and play Grand Canyon, like smash mouth. You know, Mo D wasn't needed nearly as much in round 1, and we don't win the game without him in round 2. So you look at these opponents, we're gonna have to play different styles, different people to make another run in the NCAA tournament. We've got these guys, whether it's Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, just bang, bang, we gotta churn them out. We gotta figure out ways to get wins.
Chase?
It's a small picture question here, not big picture, but when Cliff lost the opening tip against Auburn, it just occurred to me, it's been a long time since he's lost an opening tip. I know you track everything. Is his success rate winning those kind of off the charts?
Off the charts in a bad way, you mean? Like never winning them? Is that what you're saying? Or it's been a long time since he lost one? Oh, since he lost one? I didn't even realize that. So he's been winning. Did you track that? I don't have
I
those.
don't track it, but I noticed.
Somebody in here's probably got it tracked with all the analytics we got. So he's been winning all of them and then lost against Auburn?
Pretty much.
I don't know what it is. He's long. His wingspan's ridiculous. He gets up. Hopefully he wins against Missouri. I don't know, but it's actually a good stat. I'm sure somebody in here would have it in the next 2 minutes. If you
Must be the only stat you don't keep, right?
Yeah, well, he had been losing a few there for a minute. Then he must have got a bunch of them, according from you. And then I do know he lost the one because our first possession didn't go like we wanted it to, and before you knew it, it was 9-zip. So we've had bad starts at Missouri in the past year too. So it'd be helpful if we won the tip, scored to make sure we weren't going down big early. But it's a good stat. We'll have to look it up.
Tony?
Won't take long.
Given his, ball handling and shooting ability, is it advantageous to play Aiden with Mark? But then also, how do you kind of balance that by giving up maybe the spark that Aiden would give you off the bench?
Look, we've looked at a few different analytic things that way since the Auburn game. Because shooters, creators, combination, we probably need at least 2 of the 3. Can you play LeBaron with Mark more to create, to get Mark easier shots? Can you play with Holloway and Sears together? They can both create and shoot to get each of them more shots. Can you play Barron with, either one of those so Barron can create to get them shots? When you do play Barron with Mark, because Barron doesn't shoot it as well as Biz, CY, and Mark, can you put Barron in there with 2 of CY, Mark, and Holloway? What does it do to us defensively if you put Barron, Mark, and Holloway in together, because they're all smaller? We did look at all those 2-man lineups, 3-man lineups with we looked at a lot of that. So the fact you're asking that, nicely done. You're asking the right questions, as were we. We are gonna experiment a little bit with some of that stuff, just making sure there's enough guys that can create offense, enough shooters out there to keep the floor open with the appropriate lineups in. So that we did take a good hard look at that over the last couple of days.
Like,
Yeah, kind of a similar question, but I know you moved LeBaron out of the starting lineup when he had that ankle. But now that he's back healthy, has there been consideration? You were just kind of talking about it, like moving him back into the starting
Yeah,
lineup.
there is, just because like we love what CY's given us with shooting, toughness, leadership, all that. The issue is, as good a shooter as he is, you know, he's a lot of things I love about him. You know, Mark's probably the only creator in the starting lineup. It helps, kind of like Tony talked about, to have either Mark and Holloway or Mark and LeBaron together. So, like, Holloway's been great off the bench. He can score it in a hurry. Gives you that, his pace. He's the fastest of our guards. Sometimes it's nice to bring in a fresh guard who's playing super fast against either the other team's second unit or tired first unit. So, you know, if you want to have two creators in, is it LeBaron and Sears, or do you make a quick sub early? Or like we also got to figure out who's healthy enough to go and all that stuff. But yeah, there's been talk of, you know, the question he asked, we've talked a lot about that, and yes, there's been talk of this too as well.
Nick Kelly.
Yeah, the LSU game is the only one where the defense has allowed fewer points per possession in the second half than the first half. Is that a case of fatigue? Is it just natural second half? Is it guys getting complacent? And what would you attribute that to?
I like that we've got a analytically driven media, because I didn't know that stat, so that's a good one for me to go look at a little harder. I did know that we were having second half issues going into that game. That's why we changed the group to start the second half. And obviously it must have worked on the defensive end, because it's still the only time we've had a better efficiency on the defensive end than the first half, which I didn't know that until you just told me that. I knew that we had issues before, and it worked that game. So I'm gonna be honest with you, we have, our starts to the second half haven't necessarily fixed themselves. Maybe we do need a change in the starters, at least for the second half, even if we don't do it for the game. Maybe we need a little bit more of a wake-up call at halftime. Haven't felt the need to go crazy on, you know, I don't want to say I do that often, but light a fire in the room, if you will, with all the fifth-year seniors we have. Maybe that needs to be a discussion we have with some of these guys that are fifth-year seniors, that our sense of urgency starting the second half has to be better. You know, we did address the, you know, I think I had the numbers wrong. I think we obviously started the game out 9-0 the wrong way against Auburn. I think they finished on a 7-0 run, and then it went from 9 to 14 before the first media timeout. So 9 and 7 is 16, and 5 is 21. And then we didn't close the game very well either. You know, obviously we had to foul intentionally, but even if you just count start, finish, start, not great with the starters that started either the game or the half, and the guys that finished the first half. So, you know, I don't know why our second half defense, obviously some other teams, you know, maybe make an adjustment, and we got to do a better job making adjustments. Maybe it's our lineups aren't right in the second half. Maybe it is a sense of urgency. Maybe it's some complacency, because it obviously not the case in the Auburn game, but we've been playing with a lead, and sometimes a strong lead. You know, we built an 18-point lead at Arkansas. You know, are we not mature enough to guard when we're up? We had a big lead in Texas. Are we not mature enough to guard when we're up? We've had, you know, multiple double-digit leads in the second halves against these teams, and I'm with you. I don't like our sense of urgency to guard when we have a lead. To me, that shows, you know, some leadership issues that we've got to do a better job. So, thank you for informing me. Make sure our team knows that, and we'll look into that a little deeper. The more analytics you guys give me, the more I like it. Appreciate it.
Charlie.
This might not be as analytic, but no Aiden Sherrill last game. Just was that more of a matchup thing, or what went wrong there?
Yeah, I felt bad. He wasn't like, it had nothing to do with him. I love the kid. I actually praised him a a lot in video this morning because for a kid to not play in the game for the first time all year, and Mo D had multiple games where he didn't play last year, and I thought his attitude stayed great, and it's well known, everybody in here would agree, like we don't make a Final Four run without what he did in the NCAA tournament. So for Mo's attitude to stay as well as it did last year to come in and help us make a Final Four run for the first time in school history. Aiden Sherrell's attitude in practice yesterday, you know, I told you we have practice MVP voting. There was only 2 guys that got practice MVP votes from the team yesterday, and it was Grant and Aiden Sherrell. So for him to come back and practice as hard with as good attitude as he did, when a lot of guys would have been immature, pouted, he's not that. So why didn't he play? Look, you know, they had the 2 bigs that started, so we thought it was maybe a game they could play. Cardwell got in foul trouble, which limited a lot of his minutes in the first half. I didn't think Cliff necessarily was great early, gave up the 2 threes, and I mean, Broome got off to a great start. We brought Mo D in. Mo D's been a little bit of a spark plug. You know, he hit 2 threes. Mo D's a better matchup to guard Broome on the perimeter. And after Cardinal picked the 2 fouls up, they weren't as big as what we initially thought they'd be, particularly in the first half. Then with Mo D doing a good job, and then Cliff did a really good job on him after he came back in after the first stint. We kind of went back and forth between Cliff and Mo D, who I thought were doing a great job, and then they didn't play 2 bigs nearly as much as we thought they would, and it kind of shook out that way, and it had nothing to do with what Aiden's been playing, because I think he's been playing much better basketball. So I did feel bad. We tried to win the game, and I thought we went with guys that were working, and I would anticipate Aiden getting minutes, you know, in the first half here against Missouri, and then seeing where that goes from there.
Well,
Coach, your team has really shown up to play on the road this season. Missouri could be the most underrated team in the country. What are the challenges that they present that you want to see your guys respond to?
Those are both good points. I think, you know, I told our team this morning in video, we've gone on the road at Kentucky when I thought maybe they were playing their best basketball. They were full strength. They had Lamont. I mean, they were good. We went to A&M when they were playing as good as anybody in the country, got a win. Went to Mississippi State, they were playing as good as they've been playing all year, I thought, got a win. You know, Arkansas was maybe playing as good as they've been playing all year. We got in, they went in there and got a win. You know, we went in and beat Texas pretty soundly, shot it well. So we've had very good wins on the road, and for whatever reason, we're 6-0 on the road and we're 4-2 at home. Now, Auburn was one of them at home, so, you know, they're number 1 in the country, so maybe but we played well on the road. Missouri's 16-1, I believe, at home. The challenges they present, I mean, kind of what I talked about in my first question, they turn people over a lot with their steal percentage. They've got elite shooting. They play with great pace. And we've had some issues with that. We've got to be super locked in and ready to go both after a loss and on the road. And this game's a little bit reminiscent of the Kentucky game, coming off a loss, going on the road against a really good team, and I hope we answer the bell like we did against Kentucky.
2 more, Jeff. Oh, Jeff, sorry.
You kind of mentioned it already with the defensive stuff, but we saw Cliff and Mo do a pretty good job against Broome on a couple possessions. What kind of jumps have you maybe seen there, and how do you need to keep seeing guys step up against the other team's best player?
Yeah, we've had issues with giving up career highs to other teams' best players, whether they're guards, you know, Dylan Harper, Eaglestaff, Hubbard. I think there's been a few others. It's been a little disappointing on our defense. Broome had a very good night, 19-14, but I think he had 8 quick ones, gave up a couple threes that we, you know, he's not a bad shooter at all. He's also, his percentage was, I think, high 20s coming in the game, just under 30 if I remember correctly. So it wasn't like that's where he's been killing people. He was making less than 1 a game. So we weren't as worried about that. And then he hits a couple, and I thought his sense of urgency wasn't great. I thought after he got the first 8, we did a much better job for most of the guys that ended up being on him. He still ends up with 19-14, which is why he's, of very few players being talked about for National Player of the Year, but I do think Cliff's got better. Kaufman, Wren, debacle at Purdue was not good, obviously. You know, we as a coaching staff took a lot of that because we just kind of assumed that this guy's been pretty good. He's been one of the best post defenders, best shot blockers in the country over the last 3-4 years. Like, he probably doesn't, we probably don't have to do a lot with it, but we still need the game plan, and we got a better plan. I think he's done well, and I think his second stint and then every ongoing one after was significantly better against Broome Saturday. You know, Mo Diabate's gonna play hard. No, he hit a tough fadeaway on Mo D. You know, he's got given up a little size on him, but I thought he didn't do a bad job either. So I think some of our guys are starting to step up, meet the challenge of stopping some of these other guys. I mean, we've got one today, or tomorrow. Bates is their leading scorer. He's a very good player. Caleb Grill is one of the best shooters in the country, not just in the SEC, and we've got to do a really good job on them. And they've got some other guys that are pretty good as well.
Last one, too.
Yeah, just with their 3-point shooting ability, you got Darian Reed back. What did you see from him in the Auburn game, and how big is like having an extra length guy like that to kind of maybe defend some of that?
Yeah, so look, so Darian had the hamstring deal, and it's one of those things where you don't want to bring back too early, and we thought we'd rest him well enough. Well, it kind of flared up again after. He played limited minutes against Auburn, but he's been out of practice. We're checking. He's getting MRI, second MRI, actually the third one in the last few weeks. Again, this morning, I believe. So, well, I think he'll be listed as probably doubtful, based on not practicing yesterday and today. You know, hopefully the MRI shows up clean. Maybe all swelling or the inflammation, whatever it is, goes out. Maybe he can go. Look, Darian's one of our best positional size athletic defenders, and he's done very good jobs on different guys when he's been healthy throughout the year. It would be great to have him because, like we've said, we've given up career highs to too many guys, and he's a guy that you can put on a 1, 2, 3, 4, great size, fly around. It's hard not getting the reps, and he's missed, I think we've counted like over a third of, 30, might be over 35, 36% of our practice reps this year. So it's hard on both sides of the ball, but as good as he is on defense, sometimes you're not getting the reps on offense. It's got to be a positive net on both sides of the ball. So, and he's missed the last 2 practices again. So I'm not sure where he'll be at, even if he's cleared to play tomorrow, just because of all the missed practice reps and everything. So we're just, I think he's going to be a pro. He came in at McDonald's All-American. He's got all the intangibles as far as tough, great attitude, high IQ. He's athletic. A lot of the stuff that the pros are looking for. We really don't want to hurt his long-term career by rushing something to win a game or two, help him. So we're trying to do what's right by him and do it right, and we'll just see where he ends up after this MRI comes back here this afternoon.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.